So you could come today. I said, when you come today, why not you as a class? So today, Vrinda Krishna and Vrindavan part 1. Tomorrow, Bhagavad class Krishna and Vrindavan part 2. And then, so as I mentioned, he's in the book tour, he's displaying Maharaj books. Just to give you information, he came to America with 125 sets. They're all gone. So the demand is so high, they're all gone. But if you want, you have to place an order and then we ship to your home directly. So, no, Rasika will walk. So Bhagavatam is nectar, right? Krishna is nectar. What is the most? Bhagavatam Rasamalai. So Krishna and Vrindavan at the end of his children, at the head of Krishna. Bhagavatam Rasamalai. No? So if you are a Rasika, you should relish this nectar. And we are blessed to have Ananda Chaitanya Prabhu. Smarahari. We have Smarahari Prabhu. Let us express our gratitude that is illustrated our devotees loudly chanting in us So they are going to take us to Vrindavan. No? Bhagavatam Asmami. And whatever Sri Maharaj has been investing his energies for the past more than 2 decades. This is a characterizer. And of course, if you're inspired, you can definitely buy the books. Okay? Some of you already purchased. Anyone purchased? Other platform. Okay, you already one person purchased.
And marriage is done.
Okay, Krishna Kumar bought, I don't know. So you're also encouraged to bring, but thank you very much. Please come. 3 days loud Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Million times more slowly.
Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Sri Ananda Chaitanya Prabhu ki. Smarahari Prabhu ki.
Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Gurun Dinatara. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here in ISKCON Farmington Hills. It's my first time here to this temple. I really want to thank Yugal Kishore, who's been such a wonderful host, very welcoming, very open, very loving. And he's told me about the wonderful community here. I've actually, not just him, I've heard from so many devotees that the Farmington Hills community is growing. Some sound effects. YouTube ads. So not that it's growing, it's thriving.
Introduced to you earlier.
Okay. Okay. Not just numbers, because quantity is one thing, but that the quality of the community, there's so much enthusiasm, so much desire to serve, so much zest, enthusiasm in Krishna consciousness. And so many wonderful devotees. Actually, we were at the Sadhu Sangha Festival in Dallas, and we met many devotees from Farmington Hills who are very cultured, also very well trained. You can understand the quality of people according to Sadhava Bhushana, their qualities of a Vaishnava, their humility, their respect, their tolerance, their forbearance, like that. So we saw so many wonderful devotees. So it's an honor to be here. We're flying through, as Prabhu said. It's a short visit. And we're leaving tomorrow morning after the class for Toronto. There's so much going on in America, especially during the summertime. There's so many places to be. I wish I could expand and be in 7, 8 places at once. It's Kardama Muni. He expands 8 times, no? 9 times. Anyway, so yeah, there's so many places to be, but we can only be in one place at once. But as Prabhu said, we're touring, we're traveling. When I saw this poster of Shivaramaj, and many devotees would read the poster and think that he was coming, then I was shaking in my boots. So then I messaged Prabhu and asked if we could change things a little, because I'm a tiny jiva, and I'm just trying to repeat the words that I've heard and read and understood from Srila Prabhupada and from my spiritual master, and so many other devotees who invest in us, who guide us, who inspire us. The topic today is very lofty. Krishna in Vrindavan. So it's not just Krishna in Dwarka. It's not just Krishna in Mathura, but it's Krishna in Vrindavan. When you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, then we're instructed, don't jump to the 10th canto. Who's read the Srimad Bhagavatam? Hands? Yeah. So they say, don't jump to the 10th canto. First, you have to read from the feet, Krishna's cantos 1 and 2, at the lotus feet, and gradually work your way up. And eventually, 10th canto is Krishna's lotus face, beautiful face. So we have to prepare ourselves. And so today we're jumping to the 10th canto. Ideally, we would go through cantos 1, 2, 3, all the way 9, and then reach 10. But we'll make it palatable and easy to understand. The Bhagavatam is so wonderful, as Prabhu was saying, Nigama kalpataror kalitam phalam. This is Vyasadev's mature realization. As we know in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the introductory chapters of the first canto, Vyasadev's story is described. He sees the fallen age. He sees the people of the oncoming age. And he sees how badly qualified they are for spiritual pursuits. Prayinalpayusha sabhya kalavasmin yugejana manda samanda matyo manda bhagya hupadrita. He sees that the people of Kali Yuga, not only do they have short lives, in Satya Yuga, average person would live 100,000 years. In Treta Yuga, 10,000 years. In Dwapar Yuga, 1,000 years. And in Kali Yuga, if you live to 100, then you're a very special soul. The Queen of England, she was 99. Close, almost, but not 100. So 100 is a special, but as Kali Yuga progresses, these days 70, 80, 85, good age, ripe old age. But the age will go down, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40. So, but not just age. People are disinterested in spiritual subject matters. People are always very busy with so many other pursuits, and the mind is always disturbed. Kurma Puran talks about focus, concentration. It says 12 seconds. This is the first stage of meditation. You can hear your mantra for 12 seconds. You have to think when you're chanting. Who chants here regularly? Yeah, so most of you are chanting Hare Krishna. How many seconds, how many mantras do you hear and actually hear? Meaning there's nothing else going on. Just the mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. These days, even hearing one mantra with focus, with attention, with nothing else going on in your mind, that's an achievement. So Kurma Puran says 12 seconds is the first stage of meditation. You can focus your mind without it wavering for 12 seconds. Then it says the next stage of meditation is 12 times 12 seconds. How many? 144, which is about 2.5 minutes. And then Samadhi is 12 times 12 times 12, which is about 30 minutes, where you can just hear the mantra and there's nothing else going on in the universe. That's what's required to actually advance in Krishna consciousness. And therefore we have to train the mind. But the nature of Kali Yuga, Vyasadeva saw, is that people's minds will always be so disturbed, and technology doesn't help. Yeah, I put my phone on silent. Most of the time, if someone calls me, they don't get through because my phone is on silent. Then I'll check my phone, and then I'll reply to the messages, reply to the phone calls, because I don't want my phone to dictate my life. We're meant to use things, yeah, and love people. But instead, we use people and love things. And things end up using us. We become the objects, we become controlled by these things. So Vyasadeva could see, and not just 5,000 years later, he could see 15, 20, 432,000 years later. He could see the nature of Kali Yuga, and therefore he said that this Vedic literature has to be written down. And so he had Ganesh as his scribe. Everyone knows that. And the agreement was what? That Ganesh would write as long as Vyasadeva spoke. If Vyasadeva stopped speaking, then Ganesh would stop writing. He would give up the service. So no toilet breaks, no stops, no thinking, continuous speaking. And like that, the Vedic literatures were written. But at the end, Vyasadeva didn't feel satisfied. He didn't feel, you know, when you do some service and you work hard, and writing the Vedic literatures is not an easy task. Very, very difficult. Huge body of literature. And then, of course, he wrote the Vedanta Sutra, the Mahabharata, huge. But at the end of all of this endeavor, all of this effort, he felt dissatisfied. So then his guru, Narad Muni, came and he said, "You're a fool. Actually, you're misguiding the people. Because in the Vedic literatures, there are so many different processes which are recommended, which are given. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. This will confuse the people. They'll be bemused. They won't know what to do." He said, "You need to write one literature on one topic. That one literature is the Srimad Bhagavatam. And the one topic is the weather. No. That one topic is Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And therefore, Etecham Sakalapam Sa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. This is the Paribhasa Sutra of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The lens, the emperor verse, the verse through which you should see every other verse in the Bhagavatam, everything is pointing towards Krishna. So the culmination of the Bhagavatam is a 10th canto, Krishna's pastimes. And so the 10th canto has 92 chapters. The first 39 chapters are based on Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. So I was reading one of Prabhupada's purports many years ago, and he was saying in the purport that Rupa Goswami has written 2 plays. It's in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the pastime is described, where Rupa Goswami was writing 1 play. But then Srimati Radharani comes to him and says that you should split this 1 play into 2. So the first is called, does anyone know? Lalita Madhav and Vidagdha Madhav. So then I understood that Vidagdha Madhav is all about Krishna in Vrindavan. So I thought, when I'm older, then I'll read that. But then, and Lalita Madhava is Krishna in Dwarka. And I thought, we're not interested in Dwarka. Dwarka is not so interesting. I won't read that. But then at a certain point, when I read these plays, then I saw actually Lalita Madhava is even deeper than Vidagdha Madhava. Lalita Madhava is all about Krishna in Dwarka. But actually, it's about Krishna in Vrindavan. Physically, he's in Dwarka. But mentally, emotionally, he's absorbed. There's nothing else in the universe apart from Vrindavan. This is his ecstasy. So I want to speak a little bit about this, how Krishna is in Dwarka and is in such separation from the Vrajavasis. But I forgot to introduce myself a little, just so that devotees know. Like I said, it's my first time here. My name, as Prabhu said, is Ananda Chaitanya Das. I'm from London. I was born and bred in London. I had connection with ISKCON in my youth, but I wasn't a practitioner. But Krishna was a focus of worship in our home. I met devotees over the years, but somehow I wasn't attracted enough to connect. Then I went to university, and I was studying economics at Cambridge University in the UK. And in the first week of my university time, I was looking through the various list of societies, because my plan was that I should join some good societies, build up my CV, and then get a good job. So this was the idea. You know, when I was young, then at a certain point, I wanted to be a firefighter. Then a little later, I wanted to be a pilot. I think there was some time when I wanted to be a police officer. And then eventually I decided I want to be a banker. Why does anyone do these jobs? Who's in IT here? Yeah, many devotees in IT. Yeah, Indians in America means IT. So, you know, why do you do IT? Is it for the job satisfaction? Is it for the inspiration? Is it because you think you're making a huge difference to the world? For the money. Yeah, for the money. So same reason. I wanted to be a banker because I thought, okay, they get paid the most. And particularly I wanted to be a trader. Because it's all about the money. But then at a certain point, I graduated from university, I worked in banking, and at a certain point, I thought to myself, if I'm surrounded in this environment for 12, 13, 14, 15 hours a day, how will I ever become Krishna conscious? And I really wanted to read and study Srila Prabhupada's books. And therefore, I left the job after a year and a half. I joined the temple at Bhaktivedanta Manor in London. I spent about 10 years there, and then I moved to ISKCON Hungary, to Budapest Temple, which is where I live now, and served there. So Krishna in these books are really based on Krishna in Vrindavan. It's all about Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes, but a part of that is Krishna in Dwarka, because what Krishna experiences in Dwarka is actually very intense. He experiences Vipralamba. There is Sambhoga and there is Vipralamba. There is union, and then there is separation. Separation, some people say, why does it have to be separation? When Krishna is leaving Vrindavan, at the age of 16, he leaves Vrindavan. Akrura comes on the behest of Kamsa. Akrura comes to take Krishna away. He's called Akrura, means not cruel. But the gopis say, or the Vrajvasis say, he's the most cruel. What kind of a name is this? He's the most cruel person because he's come here and he's taking away our life and soul. He's taking Krishna away. He's the most cruel person. But Krishna leaves. Krishna arranges his pastimes so that he has to leave. Because they say absence makes the heart grow fonder. And on the converse of that is familiarity breeds contempt. Anyone, if you're married, then you'll know. Don't spend too much time with your partner, with your husband, with your wife. Yeah, there has to be some separation. That you have to have your own set of friends and your own hobbies, your own activities. If you're together too much, then familiarity breeds contempt. There has to be. So it works the same. So Krishna arranges this separation because when there's distance, then see there's vivid descriptions of Krishna in Dwarka. When Krishna's there, he has all the opulence in the world. He has 16,108 palaces, so many duties and responsibilities. But especially at night time, all day, but especially at night time, all he's meditating on, all he's thinking about is Vrindavan and the Rajvasis. So Rupa Goswami describes, there's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami, Nectar of Devotion. Prabhupada did a summary study. And then Rupa Goswami has a sequel to the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And in this book, he writes that Navvina Vipralambhena Sambhoga Pushtim Ashnute. He says, without Vipralamba, union, Sambhoga, is not nourished. So separation nourishes union. He also describes that it's like salt water. Why has Krishna made, and I often wonder this, if you're swimming in the sea, the water's salty. Why has Krishna made the water salty? Because it preserves the water. If there's no salt in the water will become stagnant. So salt preserves the water. In the same way, Vipralamba, separation, it preserves and nourishes union. So Krishna constantly creates situations where his associates, wherever he is, have to experience separation. Even in Vrindavan, if you look at Krishna's day, then in the morning Krishna rises and he has some time with his parents. His mother's overseeing his bathing, his dressing, his breakfast. His father's there too. They have Krishna all to themselves. So there's a book actually which describes Krishna's day. Krishna also has 24 hours in the day. And his day is split into 8 parts. Each part is 2 hours and 24 minutes. Krishna's when you read and hear about Krishna, you see actually he's a very regulated person, very time conscious. Because imagine, his day is split into 2 hour, 24-minute sections. Not 2 hours, 23 minutes, not 2 hours, 25 minutes, but 2 hour, 24-minute sections. So he'll rise around 6, it's a little late, but anyway, we won't give him a hard time about that. So 6 until 8:24. That's the first section of the day, you can say, kind of first section. So during that time, he rises, he'll go to milk the cows, he'll bathe, he'll dress, he'll have some breakfast. And then the next section is 8:24 until 10:48. Yeah. So then Krishna, he's, there's a bit of entertainment going on, and then he's getting ready to go. All the friends are coming. Then they go off with the cows to pasture. And Mother Yashoda is begging him not to leave. And she's ruffling his hair and telling Balaram, please take care of Krishna. Don't let anything bad happen to him. Then she's worrying. Look at all these thorns and pebbles on the floor. They'll cut his feet. So she's worrying and fussing over him. I remember my mother used to do the same when I was young, right? Indian mothers. And then from 10:48 until 3:36, Krishna has another set of pastimes. And then from 3:36 p.m. until 6 p.m., another set of pastimes. And like that. So what I didn't explain, 10:48 to 3:36 is how long? 2. 2 times 2 hours, 24 minutes, which is 4 hours, 48. Yeah. So there's 2 sections of the day, midday and midnight, which is 4 hours, 48 minutes. Like that, it's Ashtakaliya Leela, Krishna's 8-fold daily pastimes. So Krishna leaves for the forest. Therefore, his parents are in such separation. They're writhing, so much pain, agony in separation from Krishna. And then the friends, Sakhas, they have Krishna's association. Then they're in union with Krishna. And then at the end of the day, after herding the cows, again, the Sakhas, they experience the pangs of separation. And again, the parents have their chance to have Krishna's association. And then at night time, the gopis, they have their chance. And like that, everyone, even in Vrindavan, is experiencing Sambhoga Vipralamba. Sambhoga Vipralamba. Union and separation. Union and separation. This is a constant theme. So then, why is separation needed? We explain because it enriches the pastimes. Everything that goes on in Krishna's pastimes, and we have to remember this, everything that goes on is for the exaltation of rasa. It's a wonderful phrase Prabhupada uses. Everything taking place is for the exaltation of rasa, to intensify and increase the rasa. Akhila Rasamrita Murti. Krishna is Rasa Raj. He loves to experience varieties of tastes, flavors. He loves to experience. So going to Dwarka is also an extension of the same. He promises the Vrajvasis when he's leaving Dwarka, when he's leaving Vrindavan, he promises them, I will be back. So many people have accused Krishna in history of not keeping his word. That actually he didn't return. He never returned to Vrindavan. He lied to the Vrajvasis. He kept them in pain, in agony, in suffering, and he was heartless. He didn't care about them. And he was doing his thing. He's in Dwarka. He's a king. Everyone respects him. He's in great opulence. Forget about the village Vrajvasis. But then Rupa Goswami especially and others, they go through great lengths to prove that yes, actually Krishna does return. He returns to Vrindavan. On some occasions, he sends messengers. So he's in Dwarka. And in Dwarka, Krishna is experiencing this separation, and all he's doing is thinking about the Vrajvasis. So one day, he's there and he's just meditating on the Vrajvasis. And then Uddhava asks him. Uddhava is a Dwarkavasi. Uddhava is Krishna's cousin. He's a disciple of Brahaspati. He asks Krishna. They're very close friends. Uddhava looks just like Krishna. They're very close. He says, you're constantly meditating on the Vrajvasis. What is it about them that's so special? Why are you so absorbed in the Vrajvasis? So, it's one of those things that you can't really explain. You have to experience. There's some things in life which you can't really talk about. They have to be experienced. So then Krishna sends Uddhava to Vrindavan to experience, to understand what it is about the Vrajvasis which is so special. So Krishna sends Uddhava as a messenger. And therefore there's a book called Uddhava Sandesh. Krishna writes many letters to the individual Rajvasis, and Uddhava takes these letters as a messenger. And he sees, he observes, as Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda, they read these letters. And he sees the love, the great, deep, intense love that they have for Krishna. And as he sees their reactions, their emotions, the intensity of their yearning for Krishna's association, he begins to understand, have some inkling of how special the Brajvasis are. See, Dwarka is known as Purna. Purna means complete. So Dwarka is complete. But then Mathura is understood to be Purnatara, means more complete. And then Vrindavan is Purnottama, the most complete. In a discussion with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there's a devotee called Raghupati Upadhyay, and he says a very beautiful verse. He gives a conclusion of Krishna consciousness in this one verse. Very simple verse also. He says, Shyama meva param rupam puri madhupuri vara vayam keshokaram dhyayam adya eva parorasa. He says, of all rupas of the Lord has so many incarnations, Varahadev, Vamanadev, Nishingadev, but of all forms of the Lord, Shyam Sundar Krishna is the most attractive. Shyamam eva para rupam. And then he says, Puri, Madhupuri, Vara. So of places, Puri means place. Of places, Madhupuri. What is Madhu? Honey. Honey. So actually sometimes Mathura is referred to as Madhu, Madhupuri. So some commentators, they explain that this Madhupuri, so there's a district called Mathura, and within that district is Vrindavan. So like that, Madhupuri can mean the district of Mathura, but what is the essence, the topmost place of the district of Mathura? It is Vrindavan. Or others say Madhupuri, the place which is sweet like honey. That place which is sweet like honey, which is Vrindavan. That is a place which is Vara, the topmost place. Puri, Madhupuri Vara. So Vrindavan is very sweet, and this is what really sets the pastimes of Vrindavan apart from the other pastimes in other places. And then Vayam, Keshorakam, Dhyayam. Dhyan means to meditate. We should meditate on which pastimes of Krishna, which age. There's a childhood pastimes, Balya Leela. Then there's Pauganda, 6 till 10. And then after that, 11 till 16 is Kaishor. So Raghupati Upadhyay and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in bliss hearing this verse. Raghupati Upadhyay says, Vayam Kaishorakam Dhyayam. One should meditate on the Kaishor pastimes. Krishna is a youth in Vrindavan. And actually, Rupa Goswami splits the youth into 11 to 12, 13 to 14, and then 15. Krishna's 15 years, 9 months, eternally. So, particularly these pastimes, this age, one should meditate on. And then Adya Eva Parorasa, of all rasas, the Adiras, the Madhurya Bhav is to be meditated upon. So this is his conclusion. And it really summarizes what Krishna consciousness is about. As Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Vrindavan is the goal. Vrindavan is the focus. and Krishna's pastimes as a youth, and Shyam Sundar Krishna. So they say that Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. You've heard this before? Vrindavanam prityaja padam ekam nagachati. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. So how is it that Krishna goes to Dwarka? Prabhu knows, of course, but others? How is it that Krishna is described as, we just said he leaves Vrindavan and he promises he'll be back? Does he leave? So when Krishna leaves to go to Mathura and then Dwarka, then there's no Krishna in Vrindavan. Correct? Vrindavan's empty. Correct? Okay. Yes. So Krishna leaves Vrindavan. But there's a borderline of Vrindavan. There's a borderline. And at that borderline, the original Shyam Sundar, Rajendra Nandanandan, he stays. And he goes into unmanifest form, aprakat. And Vasudev Krishna, he leaves and he goes to Mathura and then he goes to Dwarka. So the original Krishna, Shyam Sundar Krishna, never leaves Vrindavan. He's always there. But he's unmanifest. So this Vasudev Krishna is who we see in Dwarka. So, where was I? So Krishna's in Dwarka. Vasudev Krishna is in Dwarka. He's yearning Uddhava, right? So we said Uddhava is in Vrindavan. He sees the love of the Vrajvasis. This is an education for him. He begins to see the superlative nature of their love, the intensity, the love, the love in separation. When you don't have something and you really want it, then you meditate on that thing even more. The intensity of the meditation increases. And within that meditation, within the intensity of that meditation, there is an even deeper union. So this is what the Vrajvasis experience, and not just the Vrajvasis, but this is also what Krishna experiences. It's not a one-way street. Love is not a one-way street. There's a Vishaya and there's an Ashraya. There's someone who's receiving the love and there's someone who's giving the love, but it works both ways. So it's not that Krishna is just receiving the love, he's also giving the love. So he feels the same way about the Vrajvasis. In separation from them, he's meditating on them with such intensity, such depth, that in one sense is even deeper. The union is even deeper. And then there's another experience that the Vrajvasis go through, that they're yearning to be with Krishna. When the moment comes that they're with Krishna, the fear of separation is such that they're overridden by that fear. Even though Krishna is right next to them, they think that he's gone. They think he's not there anymore. Because it's just the intense ecstasy of... so separation and union are so interconnected. Have you ever experienced... I don't know how cold it gets here, but in London, sometimes it becomes very, very cold. And if you go and play snowball, when I was young, we would, make snowballs and throw them at each other. And then the hands get very, very cold. So cold, it's like they're frozen. And in that situation, if you put warm water on your hands, even that warm water, even boiling water, will feel cold. So in the same way, separation becomes so intense that it's like union. And in the same way, union is so intense that it also becomes like separation. It's difficult to understand, actually, to really grasp it. Theoretically, maybe we can get some handle over these things, but ultimately, like many things, you have to experience it to really know. So Uddhava, he has that experience to a degree by observing the deep love of the Rajvasis, by experiencing, seeing their love in separation, he's educated. And then the Rajvasis, they write letters to Krishna to send back to him. So there's another book by Rupa Goswami, it's called Hansaduta. So Uddhava then becomes the messenger of the Rajvasis to Krishna. He delivers letters to them. So it's so wonderful. And Uddhava, in this way, he returns with a much deeper understanding of what love is. He learns a deeper way of loving from the Rajvasis. And this is what Krishna is missing. So in Dwarka, they create, how long do we have, Prue? How long? 20 minutes? I don't want to keep, it's Friday, you're probably all tired after a week at work, you have responsibilities. But I'm just wondering whether to enter into this pastime, because it's a little long, but it's from one of these books, it's one of my favorite pastimes. So, Krishna's missing Vrindavan so much, but he's living in Dwarka. He spent 16 years in Vrindavan, 25 years in Mathura, and then how many years in Dwarka? You can do the maths. Very good. Yeah, good. So 125 years minus 41. 16 plus 25 is 41. 125 minus 41 is 84. Very good. So he spends 84 years in Dwarka, but he's missing the Vrajvasi so much. He's yearning and writhing in agony. He's with Rukmini, but she can see that his mind is elsewhere. She's a topmost queen in Dwarka, up to a point. We'll talk about that. But he's just meditating on the Rajvasis. So then they create another Vrindavan. In Dwarka, they create a replica of Vrindavan. Actually, this is what Srila Prabhupada wanted. He wanted replicas of Vrindavan all over the world. Yeah. So this is the idea of farm communities. Yeah, one of the ideas is to be away from the system, to allow devotees to have a simple life, simple living, higher thinking, etc. Another is that devotees can build replicas of Vrindavan, embassies of the spiritual world. For Bhaktivedanta Manor, Prabhupada instructed that we should have 600 pastime places established on the grounds of New Gokul Bhaktivedanta Manor, so that devotees can go there and they can go to Nandagaon, Vishana, Javat, Rangamahal, Govardhan Parikram. They can do all of those things on their doorstep. So this is the idea. So they created another Vrindavan. So actually Prabhupada got this from Shastra. He called New Vrindavan, New Raman Reddy, so many places, New Jagannath Puri. He named these places based on Krishna's pastimes. They create this Nava Vrindavan for Krishna so that he could feel at home. So that when he was missing Vrindavan, he could go there and just feel that homely atmosphere. And Vishwakarma, he's the architect of the demigods. He created this wonderful Nava Vrindavan. So Krishna went there, and he went and he felt so familiar. Beautiful Vrindavan. He saw the desire trees, and all of the wonderful places, a palace which looked just like home, so many things. But what was missing? Rajvasis. You can have the place, but if the Rajvasis are not there, if your associates aren't there, then what is the place? So Krishna went to this Nava Vrindavan, but he was feeling such emptiness there. He just couldn't And actually, it intensified his yearning and his missing of the Brajvasis. So then Krishna said, I never want to go there again. Because all this place is doing is giving me more pain. So separation, there's a pain of separation. And this is something which sometimes devotees find very difficult to understand, that actually pain is pleasure. Separation is the deepest experience of ecstasy, deeper than union, but it brings a pain. So Krishna's in pain. It's a chinta, we can't really understand it. So Krishna says, I never want to go there again. Sometime later, someone visits Dwarka. And particularly, she wants to see Queen Rukmini. And Rukmini sees this personality. And she's shocked. Because this personality is so amazingly beautiful. And she begins to, what do you naturally do? She's a competitor. I cannot allow Krishna to see this personality. I have to make sure that they do not connect. Because what do? You compare. Yeah? And she begins to think, she's more beautiful than me. If Krishna sees her, then my number one spot will be challenged. No, not just challenged. I'll be finished. I'll be number 2. And who wants to be number 2? There's a reason why we don't have more than one wife. We're in the, I mean, it's allowed, right, according to our culture, but it's a tough position to be in. So who's this other person? Does anyone know? No. Where's it? Radharani's in Vrindavan? So who is it in Dwarka? Who is Radharani in Dwarka? Satyabhama. So this is Satyabhama. But Satyabhama comes with a very specific request. Her request is that I have one person in my heart. And I don't want to see any other man. Please give me a place where there's no men, where I'll never see any men. Because I only ever want to see this one person. I can't see him. I can't find him. Give me a desolate place. Can you give me shelter, O Queen? So then Rukmini thinks, I've got one place where you should go. Because in this one place, both my desire and your desire will be fulfilled. Your desire is that you never see a man, meaning you never see Krishna. And my desire is that you also never see Krishna. So then, where does Rukmini put Satyabhama? In Navavrindavan. Because in Navavrindavan, Krishna said, I will never go there again. I never want to go there again. And Satyabhama doesn't want to see anyone. So she can be in this place where no one ever goes. So Satyabhama, she has a couple of associates. She goes and she resides in Navavrindavan. And Rukmini is peaceful. Quite peaceful. But still, there's always that fear. What if? What if? So some time goes by, Rukmini's living on the edge. She's always wondering, fear. When you have something, then there's fear of losing what you have. Attachment is a source of pain in this world. Whatever you're attached to, that is going to cause you pain in this world. So Rukmini is attached to Krishna. And of course, in this case, there's a bliss. So some time goes by, everything is peaceful. Then one day, Krishna is with Madhumangal, and Krishna is really missing Vrindavan. Madhu Mangal has come to visit him. They're talking about Vrindavan. So Krishna says, okay, let's go to Nava Vrindavan. Just once. Short time. Let me relive Vrindavan. Let me be in that atmosphere. At least some connection will be there. So then Krishna and Madhu Mangal enter into Vrindavan. They start walking through the forests. And then they come to an opening in the forest. Has anyone ever heard this pastime before? Anyone? Hands? Okay, good. That's good. So it's a beautiful. So Krishna's there, and they come to an opening, and then Krishna sees a deity, beautiful deity. And so he goes closer and closer, and he begins to look at the deity. And he says, how beautiful. This deity is so, so beautiful. And he's just mesmerized by the deity. And then Madhu Mangal says, it looks like you. And of course, this is a precursor to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, who's a devotee of Krishna, who loves Krishna. So it's like a prediction. So Krishna is just mesmerized by this deity. And he realizes, yes, this is me. But he looks at the deity and he's just thinking, who is worshipping this deity? Because whoever is worshipping is doing there's something special about this person. And he saw a few signs of how special this person must be. Because he saw that the garland was out of place. It was misaligned. He saw that the chandan on the feet was cracking. He saw that the tilak was bent. So if anyone does pujari service, these are, they're very basic errors. A pujari should get the garland straight. A pujari should be able to do straight tilak. But Krishna's understanding from seeing this deity and the way it was dressed was that whoever was dressing me, whoever was dressing this deity was dressing me, and they were experiencing the deepest ecstasies. So either this person was very much a beginner, or this person was a Paramahamsa, a very exalted soul. Krishna's conclusion was that this person must be a Paramahamsa, because they were so inattentive, so much absorbed in love, the garland was bent. They were crying tears of love, and therefore that mixed with the chandan and made the chandan crack. Because when they were painting the tilak, their fingers were shaking in ecstasy, and therefore the tilak was bent. So Krishna became very curious. Who is this person who's worshipping me with so much love? I want to know. Yeah, anyone, right? If someone loves you, you want to know who it is. So Krishna becomes very curious. And then Madhu Mangal and Krishna, they begin to hear the chattering of girls. And they think, okay, whoever it is, they're coming. Because this place is empty. But obviously someone is here because everything was fresh. Garland was fresh. So they knew someone is staying here. But who could it be? We thought this place was empty, desolate. And now we're hearing the chattering. So now we'll find out who is worshipping this deity with love. So then very quickly, they took the deity away into the bushes. Krishna swapped dresses. And he felt great bliss again putting on the dress. Satyabhama had dressed Krishna in cowherd outfit, yellow dhoti, Vaijayanti mala, peacock feather. Krishna put this dress on again, and he felt, oh, this is me. Now I feel at home. And then he jumped onto the altar, and he gave the deity his, kingly Dwarka regalia. He felt very happy to get rid of it. And he stood there on the altar in the pose, still waiting. And Madhumangal hid in the bushes, and they're just observing what will happen. So Satyabhama and her associates, they come into the clearing, and they see the deity. They bow down to the deity. And then when she gets up, she looks at the deity, and she's moving around, and she feels, you know, when you feel someone's eyes are on you, and she feels, hey, it feels like he's following me. But he's a deity. No, it must be my imagination. He's just a deity, just a deity. So then she forgets about it. And then suddenly she begins to see, because she gets closer and closer to Krishna, and she begins to shake in ecstasy. There's something special. I'm feeling like this deity is not just a deity. And actually, this is our philosophy. Name of our name, Radha Gopijana Vallabha, yes. So is Radha Gopijana Vallabha, are they idols? So some people use the word idol, that they're stone, marble. No, of course not. We don't think that. Are they deities? Who says they're deities? Okay, there's a lot of people who aren't putting their hands up. So then, what? Yes. Yes. So depending on how we approach, Krishna reciprocates. Ye tamam prapadyante tam sathaiva bhajamyaham. So if we understand that this is a deity, it's good, not wrong, not bad. But if we understand this is Krishna, he's right here, and he's come, he's descended in order to reciprocate with us, then Krishna will reciprocate with us with that mentality, with that mood. But she's convinced, no, this is just a deity. But the effect today of this deity on her is different. And Krishna also, he's finding it very, very difficult to just stay still. And he begins to shake a little. And he's trying to keep still. But it's very, very difficult, because he's also experiencing ecstasy, because he, after a very, very long time, is coming in touch with. I mean, you were right when you said Radharani in a way. Satyabhama is Radharani. Yes, it's a Chintya. Yes and no, she is, and she isn't. Just like Krishna in Dwarka is Krishna, but he isn't. In the same way, Krishna's associates also, when they leave Vrindavan, they go into Uppercut Leela, and they have another form, which then enters into the other dhams, into Dwarka in particular. So Satyabhama is there, and suddenly Krishna can't help it, and he just cries out, Radha, Radha, you're here. And then they all look, they think, where did that come from? And then the deity, and then Krishna, not deity, just starts to cry. Just crying in ecstasy. And then Satyabhama goes, just naturally she rushes and starts wiping away the tears of Krishna. And then Satyabhama falls in ecstasy at Krishna's feet and faints. And Krishna also falls in ecstasy and faints. So it's quite a messy scene. And and then Madhumangal, he is chattering. Guess who's coming? Rukmini. Rukmini is coming. Catastrophe is near. Because this is exactly what Rukmini didn't want. And because now Krishna and Satyabhama have met. Long time, everything went to plan. Things were okay. But at this point, Krishna and Satyabhama, they met for the first time. And Krishna understood that this is Satyabhama, and Satyabhama understood that this is the Krishna who she's been pining after and looking for such a long time. So then at that point, Madhumangal wakes Krishna up. They swap deities, swap dresses, and Krishna starts walking away from the scene and catches Rukmini before she comes. And Rukmini says, "What are you doing here in Nagar Vrindavan?" And then Krishna just tries to play innocent. "Oh, nothing, nothing. You know, Madhumangal was here. He was visiting me, so I just thought I'd come just for a few minutes. We're going back now." And she said, "Tell me the truth." You know, women can always know, you know. So Krishna somehow, he lies his way out of the situation. He's expert. But Rukmini is suspicious. She knows there's something going on. She can feel in her heart. And so then similar pastimes take place. Just like in Vrindavan, Radharani has to steal away in order to meet Krishna. In Dwarka, it's reversed. Satyabhama is free. She has no entanglements, no responsibilities, just like Krishna. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. Krishna has no responsibilities. He can freely run around doing what he likes, pretty much, in Vrindavan. Now, in Dwarka, Satyabhama has that freedom, and Krishna has to sneak away from his palace responsibilities to his queens, particularly Rukmini. And so similar pastimes then play out in Dwarka. It's a replica of Vrindavan in that sense. So many wonderful pastimes then take place in Dwarka. And which is better, Dwarka or Vrindavan? Once there's a discussion between Sarup Damodar Goswami and Srivas Thakur. This is in Chaitanya Charitamrita. They're in Narendra Sarovar in Jagannath Puri. And they're play fighting in the water. And so they're having this discussion. And Srivas Thakur, what's his? Nard Muni. He's trying to establish that Vaikuntha is the topmost place. And Sarup Damodar Goswami is who? Lalita Sakhi. He's trying to establish that Vrindavan is the topmost place. So Sarup Damodar Goswami says that the opulence of Vrindavan is there. One speck of dust in Vrindavan has more opulence than all of the Vaikuntha planets combined. This is Sarup Damodar Goswami's conclusion. So Vrindavan is very, very opulent. So Dwarka's opulence, we hear about the opulence. Vrindavan is also very, very opulent. But what covers the opulence is the intense, wonderful, beautiful sweetness. So the madhurya, it far outweighs the aishwarya. Once, final story, there was Tansen. He was a courtier for Akbar. He was singing. He sung like a Gandharva. He sung like 10 Gandharvas. When he sung, everyone's hearts melted. He was amazing. He was wonderful. So Akbar would regularly shower him with jewels and riches and glorify him. He was his favorite. He was amazing. So one day Akbar said, "Where did you learn to sing like this? Where does it come from? How can you do this?" So then Tansen said, "I have a guru. I have a spiritual master." And Akbar said, "I'd love to meet your guru. He taught you to sing like this?" He said, "My singing is nothing compared to the singing of my Guru Maharaj." So Akbar said, "Then I definitely want to hear. Let me meet your guru." So then he says he lives in Vrindavan. So they go to Vrindavan. Tansen takes Akbar to Vrindavan. And they go to the residence or the kunj where Tansen's guru is. His name is Haridas. It's not our Haridas Thakur, but his name is Haridas. Huh? Residing in Vrindavan. Haridas was residing in Vrindavan. And he was singing. They went to the Kunj, he was singing so Akbar, you know, he would melt. Hearing Tansen singing, he would melt. But when he heard Haridas singing, he was in ecstasy. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. It was so amazing. He was in ecstasy. Akbar was in ecstasy. So then when Haridas came out of Samadhi, then they very respectfully, slowly approached him. And Akbar paid his obeisances to Haridas. And he said, allow me to serve you in some way. Please allow me to serve you. And Haridas said, no need, no service. And Akbar said, please, allow me to do something. You've pleased me so much. You're such a great soul, I can see. Allow me to serve you in some way. Haridas said, we have everything. We don't need anything. Akbar was feeling a little offended. I'm the emperor. I have so much wealth, so much facility, so much opulence. Allow me to serve you in some way, please. Honor my words. So then Haridas said, okay, there's a ghat over there at the river, at the Yamuna. And there's a slab. That slab is broken a little. You can fix that slab. And Akbar, he was feeling even more offended. He said, I'm the emperor, and you want me to fix a little slab? So anyway, Tansen and Akbar, they went to the slab. They went to that place. And through Haridas's potency, he gave them the vision to see that this slab, made of stone, whatever it is, actually this slab, he gave them the vision to see that this was made of Chintamani. Yeah, Vrindavan is known as Chintamani Dham. Chintamani Prakrasad Mashukalpa Vriksha. So much opulence in Vrindavan. This slab was made of Chintamani, and what Akbar realized, that all of the wealth in his treasury, everything he owned, could not replace even a small part of that slab. Everything he owned was tiny compared to the value of that one little slab because it's Chintamani. And Akbar therefore felt so small. And then Tansen said, you know why my Guru Maharaj is singing so amazing? It's because I sing for a tiny, small, insignificant little emperor in this world. But my Guru Maharaj, he's singing for the pleasure of the ultimate emperor. He's singing for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Sarva Karana Karanam Ishvara Parama Krishna. He's singing for Krishna. And therefore his singing is of a different nature, is of a different world. It's coming from the spiritual world. So like that, Akbar was educated. So Vrindavan is such a wonderful place. And we have to practice Krishna consciousness in a very serious way. And what we see is that after some time of practicing Krishna consciousness, devotees can become a little mechanical in their spiritual practices, maybe even a little disinterested, or they lose the drive, that initial enthusiasm which really fires one's Krishna consciousness can be lost. But the more we hear about the goal, when you hear about the goal, it's just like when I was at university, I wasn't amazed by the knowledge that I was being given. I wasn't particularly inspired by my subject, somewhat interesting at times, but the goal was what was driving me. No? So we tend to be goal-driven. The more we hear about the goal, the more we understand about Vrindavan, the more that goal should inspire us in our acts of devotion, in our spiritual practices. So, of course, we have to practice Krishna consciousness according to where we are at in the 9 stages of devotion. And there are various books which describe that. But we also have to hear about the ultimate goal of Krishna consciousness in order to remain inspired, in order to really aspire after that goal. And this is really what these books are about. This pastime that I told of Nava Vrindavan is from Krishna Sangati, which is one of the books in this set. And there are so many wonderful, beautiful pastimes, which are based on the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam and the various writings of the Acharyas. And according to one's qualification, by reading these pastimes, by reading and hearing about Krishna, a seed is planted in a heart. I want to be Krishna conscious. I want to be a lover of Krishna. This is the goal of my life. Parents have to train their children. I always ask children, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? And the first answer that a child has to develop, has to be trained to desire. I want to be a devotee of Krishna. I want to be a pure devotee. But if the parents don't have that desire, and I mean desire, we all make material plans. Yeah? We have plans for education, we have plans for career, we have plans for family. So many plans. How many of us are planning in spiritual life? How many say, okay, by the time I'm 20 years old in Krishna consciousness, I want to have hit Nishta. That's my goal. And I have to work towards that goal, just like I work towards so many other goals. Which is most important? At 20, I want to hit Nishta. At 30, I want to be knocking on the door of Bhava. Ruchi, Ashakti. I have to make these plans. And then I have to work towards those plans. And surely this has to be the number one plan in my life. So how does this fire come? How does this desire develop in the heart? It's because we have to hear about the goal. We have to hear about Krishna. And that's why Prabhupada gave us Krishna book. Before he finished the Bhagavatam, actually at the very beginning, 1969, I think, Krishna book came out. Why? It's a summary study of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. Because we chant Hare Krishna, hear the mantra, 12 seconds. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Because I'm chanting this mantra, but who is that Krishna? Who's Rama? In this mantra that we chant, who is Rama? Balaram. Anyone else? Krishna. So it's depending on our consciousness. Yeah. Some say it's Lord Ramachandra. Yeah. When I was young, my understanding was that it's Lord Ramachandra. And then the closer I got to devotees, I understood maybe it's Balaram. Mantras reciprocate with us according to our consciousness. If you're chanting Lord Ram, thinking it's Lord Ramachandra, then Lord Ramachandra will reciprocate with you, no problem, not a bad thing. If you're thinking this is Lord Balaram, then Lord Balaram will reciprocate with you. And if you're thinking this is Radhika Raman, Krishna, Prabhupada says the reservoir of all pleasure, Radhika Raman, then that Krishna will reciprocate with you. So depending on our practice, that leads to the goal. Sometimes devotees say, it's not really working for me. Some people even go to the extent, maybe this isn't the right process for me. the first question a sincere person will ask is, am I practicing the process properly? Do I have the right goals in mind? Am I inspired in my spiritual practices? So these books are looking to inspire the heart, to move the heart, to create an interest and a desire to learn about, to hear about, to meditate on, and to have an inclination, a burning desire to learn, to know Krishna and to love Krishna. So, yeah, we're here to share these books with the devotees. I want to finish by just playing a quick video from Srila Shiva Maharaj, who's the author of these books. And it is 5 minutes, so not too long. And Maharaj is just speaking a little bit about these books.
Hare Krishna. I'm here accompanying Ananda Chaitanya Prabhu to introduce to you our latest literary offering. This comprises of 2 sets of books, the Navaraja Mahima and Krishna in Vrindavan series in box sets. So first I'll explain a little what Navaraja Mahima is about. It's in 9 volumes, and the underlying inspiration is Srila Prabhupada's Krishna book. It contains 600 of my favorite pastimes, of course, of Krishna's Vrindavan Leela. And it's projected onto the canvas of New Vrajadayan, hence we call it Navaraja Mahima. The 9th volume is a map book that describes the places in which all of these pastimes took place. This is not a children's book, but like Krishna book, it's for children, for adults, for paramahamsas, and for beginners. And like Krishna book, there's quite a minimum of philosophy. This book took me 5 years to write, so 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. And of course, the production is really high grade. We have first class paper, gold edging, gold blocking on the artificial leather cover. There are 400 pieces of art within the book, and these books will certainly last many, many lifetimes. Okay, then let me describe Krishna in Vrindavan. And this is based on the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, Krishna's presence in Vrindavan from 1st to the 39th chapter. Again, the foundation is Srila Prabhupada's own commentaries, as well as those of other acharyas. What's the goal of these books? It's to deepen our absorption in Krishna by hearing his pastimes. The books which are in the set include Song of the Flute, Venu Gita, Napari, Krishna leaving Vrindavan and returning, Damodar Leela, binding Krishna. And while sometimes people ask who's qualified to hear, the answer is certainly anyone can read these books, as anyone can read Sri Prabhupada's books. But we've written 2 books that underline the adhikar, or the qualification for reading, and that is Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani and Sankalpa Kaumudi. These books then culminate in Vilapkusumanjali, which is the book which I have just written or writing, and that is a commentary on Raghunath Das Goswami's book of the same name. Our purpose here is not to make money. The books themselves are actually subsidized. They do cost quite a bit to write. And our real purpose, my purpose, is that this is my bhajan. And hopefully those who read it, it will be their bhajan. Moreover, Srila Prabhupada wanted us to hear about Krishna because he wanted us to be mad after Krishna. How do you become mad in love after somebody? Well, you you have to know them. And how do you know them? When you hear about them, you hear about Krishna's beauty, his qualities, his pastimes, associates. This, Srila Prabhupada said, is our family business. Writing books, printing them, reading them. And Prabhupada wanted us to replace all the non-Krishna conscious literature of the world with Krishna conscious literature. He wanted his followers to write. As a member of ISKCON, I'm making this an Islam-friendly book. They're directly written for devotees of our society. So I consider that this is my service to Krishna, to Srila Prabhupada, to you and your family. I humbly request that you take a set of these books, read them, gift them to others. It's a limited edition print, won't be always available. And finally, I'd like to invite you all to visit us in New Brajadam and see where Radha Shyama Sundar are currently enacting all the pastimes that we are writing about in these books. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'd like to thank everyone for their very kind attention. Wonderful crowd, very attentive and interested in hearing. So it's a pleasure being here. Thank you. Like I mentioned, we have these books here. Devotees are welcome to come over.
When I was accepted to SU, that was one of the greatest things in my life.
The faculty at SU really have helped mold.
YouTube ads. Yeah, we have the books here. Please come and take a look. As Prabhu mentioned, we've been here a month and we've sold everything we brought with us, which is nice, but it creates a bit of a problem, meaning we have books on the way to America. Once the devotees order them, we'll ship them to you. So please come and take a look. I don't think it's a little late, so I won't ask for questions, but we'll continue with part 2 tomorrow morning. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki. ISKCON.